What's going on, guys? I'm Ian and welcome to Club Salty Aquatics. Today we're going to be making a very simple DIY protein skimmer stand to bring that protein skimmer up to its perfect operational range to get the maximum efficiency out of it. So hang out, let's go see what happens.
I just woke up in my underwear, no liquor left on the shelf. I should probably introduce myself. You should have seen what I wore. I had a cane and a party hat. I was the king of this hologram where there's no such thing as getting out of hand.
Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how high our protein skimmer stand needs to be and what size glass we need to go get cut. So how we're going to do that is we're going to measure our protein skimmer chamber first. What I like to do is I'll measure from the edge to edge on both directions, and then I subtract about a ½ inch on each side so I get a maximum space but still have circulation around the protein skimmer stand to allow water movement. In my case, that came down to having a 15-inch piece of glass by it's 9¼ inches, I believe is what it came out to. It's right around there, so about 15 by 9 inch stand, which is just enough for my protein skimmer to set on. And then for the height, you got to measure where your water volume is sitting at the highest point at currently. Of course, your protein skimmer section should always have a stable water level, so it's not fluctuating. If your water level is fluctuating, then your protein skimmer is not going to be functioning as well. We'll go into that in another topic on another day. But measure from the bottom of the tank to where your water level is, and then subtract off the thickness of the glass you're going to be using for the protein skimmer stand. You're always shooting for the middle range of your operational range on your protein skimmers. So, with that said, let's go ahead and clean up the glass is going to be the next step. Get it making it, you got to make sure you give it a good surface for the silicone to adhere to. And yes, for that, what I've done is I've got just a simple rag here and some white vinegar. And all I do is I damp a spot on the rag with the vinegar. Doesn't take much. We're just going to give it a nice little buff down. Just cleaning off anything that's residual from them cutting it or anything that could potentially cause the silicone not to adhere properly. After you've wiped it down, make sure you give it a nice dry, and then you're good to go to get ready to silicone these glass pieces. Now, I got my glass pieces to run the long side of my glass rather than the short side. I did this because of how I have my sump configuration. Normally, I would do it the actual opposite way, so the water could be running underneath the protein skimmer, but I run a additional pump circulating water in my protein skimmer section to keep any kind of detritus or nutrients in the water column and give it a chance to actually be pulled out by the protein skimmer. Boom. Alright, so these are my 3 pieces of glass, and we're going to have them set up on this larger piece. 2 on the edges, 1 in the middle, and that's going to provide more than enough strength for the protein skimmer to actually sit on. Actually, this is so strong, once the silicone's dry, I could stand on this without any issue. So, to make sure that we have them all in the right place, what we're going to do is we're going to take some kind of straight edge. I have this little angle T here, and I'm just going to set this in the corner of it and just mark where I'm going to have each one of my glass stands, the smaller glass pieces that is actually building the stand. And then going to make one right in the middle, which is at 4.5. Okay. Repeat it on the other side. And then make a straight line. Which, at this point, I'm going to readjust so I can actually see better what I'm doing, and you guys will get a better look at what I'm doing. So, let's get these straight lines put in. There goes the cap to my pen. That's all right. And the reason I'm doing these lines is it really assists in getting a perfectly straight line for the when I'm laying my silicone down. Next thing we're going to actually do is we're going to take some Scotch tape or masking tape, and we are going to lay down a couple of strips on this for the silicone to be guided on. This is going to just make cleanup at the end a lot easier. So we're just going to go a little outside of these line that I just made on each side. And what's that going to do is when we lay our silicone, we can be messy or do whatever. And then at the end, we can just pull this up and it's not going to have any issues coming right off. And we'll pull this as soon as we get it down. All right. So we got the tape down. Next thing we're going to have to do is lay down the silicone and get these glasses on here. But we need to clean the edges on these guys too that will be facing down. Real easy. Again, just take that rag where you had that the vinegar and just give them a wipe down on the edge that you're going to be putting down. Just like so. Now we're going to take our silicone. Make sure you're always using 100% silicone. The GE 100% silicone, clear or white, is fine. I use it in my aquariums all the time. It's safe for it to go in a tank, even if it has fish and corals immediately, so no worries about that. And this has actually already been opened once, so hopefully this works for me. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So now we're just going to run a bead. I'm going to start off with the far one because that's the one that's going to be needed the most. And before we actually lay any silicone, just to hold the glass in place, I'm actually going to get a couple extra pieces of tape to hold it just in case. All right. So to lay this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to just go along this line, and I'm looking for a real consistent, nice bead all along that. If we use too much, we can clean it up later. Boom, just like that. And we're going to take our piece of glass and sitting it on the outside edge of where that silicone is, we're going to bring it up on top of it. Just like so. Beautiful. After we do that, we're going to smooth the silicone out on the inside and on the outside, which there shouldn't be a whole lot on the outside. Boom. And that is our first one. And it seems to be holding okay, so I'm not going to worry about taping it, but we are going to shift it around and pull the tape off it so we can go ahead and move on to the next one. Just like that. Now you definitely want something that you can wipe your hands down on. The silicone, it kind of just sticks to everything. It's alright. I keep a ton of extra dirty towels that I've collected over years that just keep getting more and more messed up, and that's typically what I use. So now we're on to the second one. Just keep repeating this process. And just like that, you have your protein skimmer stand made and good to go. You just gotta let the silicone cure now over the next 24 hours or so to make sure that it is fully solidified. So I'm gonna very carefully move this guy into a safer place. Having animals and all can make it a little bit tricky to keep this stuff intact while it's curing, but that's all there is to it. Drop it into the proper place and set your skimmer up, which we're going to be doing in a future video coming up very soon. But this little project here, I mean, it's real simple, real cheap. I think everything here cost me less than 20 bucks. I think the glass cost me about 12 bucks and maybe 3 or 4 bucks for the silicone, and that's all. So for one of the strongest protein skimmer stands you can make, there's no reason not to. Anybody can do this. Someone else cuts the glass for you. You just silicone it together. And it really is just stupid easy. So with that said, I'm going to go let this cure and dry. And I hope you guys take it easy. And I will see you guys next time.